you beautiful bastards, man. Fucking hell.
My yesterday,
mate, we'll never be as cool as you are in that fucking picture, mate. Ever.
See this haircut here? On Saturday afternoon, I had a fucking fringe. By the time that game finished on Saturday, this is what I was left with. Fucking, I was molting like a fucking Labrador watching that game.
Fucking do my
Yeah,
I'm
we'll
grey.
get into it, but yeah, I'm fucking gutted.
How you been, though, boys? You good?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We got humble today, lads. I went to that the Gladiator experience at the NEC in Birmingham.
I was going to book that for Cody for his birthday this year, but we opted against it. What was it like?
I went thinking, oh yeah, it'd be sound. My mates text me, said, oh, you've done the main thing in like 58 seconds. So I thought, oh yeah, fair enough, I'll have a go.
What, the eliminator?
I reckon I've done it in fucking 2 working days. It took me ages, man. Fucking ages. I don't know how we done it in 58 seconds. It's mental.
Did you get up the travelator first time?
Yeah, I wish I had it on. So the first time I've gone up, got to the top, got all cocky because I was racing my middle lad, got to the top, and then obviously I've gone to step off it, and I've lost my footing and gone back on my arse, mate, and slid down it.
The missus not filming or nothing.
Yeah, she done it. All of us done it. It was good. The second time I got up it, all right, but yeah.
Did you meet any gladiators? Are they there or?
There was some round the back, but there's like some mad queue. I didn't go. I haven't watched it in years, to be fair. I only used to watch it when I was a kid. It was just something to do.
No, I mean, my kids are into the latest one as well. Obviously, I put them on the old one as well, but they can tell the difference between HD and fucking Challenge TV, and they're like, this looks a bit old.
Kev, for you, the older. The nostalgia, mate, you would have loved it because they have a bit in the middle and it's got all like, you know, Wolf and fucking Jet and all them, like all their like toys and the cassette video cassettes and, you know, just like all random memorabilia and stuff like that. You'd love that.
Do you know what? I remember, right? I had Jet and Lightning were the two that all the boys liked. And I had a thing for Lightning, and I was about 10 years old, and I was at primary school, and my stepmom turned up at my school in the afternoon, come into my classroom with another teacher and said, oh, Kevin, you've got to go. You've got a dentist appointment. And I was thinking, have I fucking no one's told me I've got a dentist appointment? Anyway, his stepmom's got me out. Anyway, chucked me in the car and said, oh, we're going down to Wood Green, WH Smith. I just got to pick something up. I was thinking, fucking, what's going on? Anyway, went in WH Smith. Who's fucking sitting there signing autographs? Fucking Lightning.
No.
Oh, no.
Apart from being a Spurs mascot, which was massive seeing a famous person, that Lightning was the next famous person I ever saw. And I don't think my feet come off the floor. Them Spurs guys, like it did when I fucking saw Lightning for the first time. Wow. Seeing her in the flesh, mate, it was like, as a kid, was like surreal because I love gladiators. But
there's a third leg lifting you off the floor, mate. That's what it was when you seen that.
A little third leg back then. But and then she was asking me stuff like that, and I couldn't even talk, mate. I was so shy, and that gladiators was great. So I just wish our players had a bit of that gladiator spirit on the weekend, lads. So listen, no time at other age. Let's just get into it straight away. All right, boys. This is the Heart Now Here Spurs Fans podcast. A podcast from a bunch of yids for all you yids around the world. I'm joined today by Shane and Oren. Hope you're well, boys. Lee is still away on his travels. I think he's still doing the tango with a couple of old biddies on the top deck on his cruise. TJ's away for personal reasons. So TJ, we're thinking of you tonight, brother. Hope everything's okay. So boys, let's just sort of get straight into it, eh? New season, same old Spurs is what I've named this podcast episode tonight. And it really, really was that. It's a new season, as every year, full of hope, full of sort of, had a busy transfer window. Not done yet, but probably enough in there to a point to fill us with a bit of hope, thinking that, even if a draw was possible against Brentford, probably would have been a good result considering the front three, especially in terms of what we had in an attacking sense. But I think what we wanted, regardless of the result, was probably just a bit of fight, maybe a bit of character, especially with new signings in there. and sort of a different way of playing with connecting the dots with different players. But unfortunately, it wasn't that. It was, if you didn't know it was a new season, you probably would have thought it was still the same season as last year, considering what you sort of watched in that game. And yes, we did lack a lot of character, lacked a lot of leadership, and it really was a really bad day at the office. You two boys, especially, we was us three were sort of in connection through the WhatsApp group, as none of us were at the game, so we were talking while the game's on, and having you two boys on is going to be quite interesting, because you two probably were on the same sort of level in terms of, I like to say the word, maybe disgust, sort of embarrassment, disappointment, whatever you want to put it, sort of, watching the way the boys played. So it'd be good to hear both your views. I think you're both going to be coming from the same angle, but you might have different opinions on maybe why you thought it was so bad, or what players you thought were good and what players wasn't. So I'll start with you, Shane. Oren put in a message at one point because he missed some of the game because he was at a retirement party. And my favourite line of the day was, "So is our defence," when he messaged that, which was the best one-liner of the day. I thought. Why was we at a retirement party, Shane, for such an important game, and first game of the season, new hope, big allocation in a small ground. We always sell out well. They always travel well. Why did we lack that sort of determination and fight in that game for you, or was it the fact that Brentford were just too strong for us?
I think it's a bit of both, mate. We all expected more. I know they're a new team. They're bonding together, and we're probably not going to see. I know we're talking about defence at the minute, but we're not going to see that front line ever again, I hope. But I expected more, mate. I really did, regardless if they're gelling. And yeah, just expected more. There was no fight, no battle. Brentford won every single duel, literally everything. They won every battle in the middle of the park, no matter where it was. They won the battle. I just can't even remember winning a header. Just stupid little things like that. Just couldn't hold the ball up. I was really, really, really frustrated, mate. I struggled afterwards because it's first game. We're missing a lot of players. I know we've got a lot of signings. They haven't had time to gel together. I know it will be better, but after that, it did hit me a little bit, and it's just like you say, it's the same old Spurs from last season, and we've seen better in pre-season. We've seen there was a game plan, and even towards the end of last season, you've seen they were trying to do stuff, but this game there was just nothing whatsoever. Even from the very first kick, Kinski's hoofing it up long. We haven't been doing that. We've been playing out the back, and you've got players that can play out the back, and there was glimpses of seeing it, but yeah, I was disappointed, mate. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, Oren, what was your take on it? Why didn't these sort of, do you give the new players a bit of a squeeze in terms of, you took players like Van Hecker, who probably hasn't had much of a pre-season, but also has played under Zerbi. Tonali was another one who I didn't think got going in that game. What's the reason for you why we didn't really ever get going in that game and started so fragile?
It's a bit of a head scratcher, to be honest, Kev, because I watched the game yesterday, and then I heard all of the kind of like post-match analysis from De Zerbi, and he was kind of saying he knew from the Hoffenheim game that we were going to be undercooked going into this game. He knew that there were players missing. He knew that he didn't have his attack. Blah blah blah, and it just kind of feels like that the excuses are coming out early. And I was saying to a friend of mine yesterday, it's not about losing for me, because as Thomas Frank said, we will lose games, right? But for me, it was about momentum and coming into a new season, coming off the back of almost getting relegated, and then having a really good summer in terms of buying players, getting players in, shipping players out. I really expected that he would have been on the training pitch with these players. Now, you can say, well, Tonali wasn't at it. Well, why not? He wasn't at a World Cup this year. Why wasn't Van Hecker on it? Okay, he was at the World Cup, but Netherlands got knocked out quite early on in the knockout phase. So for me, I'm struggling to see why we would have put in such a bad performance. And like I said in the group, boys, it's whether we like it or not, Spurs is a fragile club at the moment with a fragile mentality that we're trying to build. And it was all about trying to get a bit of momentum. And like Shane said, I can't remember a header that was one. I can't remember where a player put their foot in. And you look at like Archie Gray, the captain in the side. I mean, really, and I like Archie Gray, and I think he's going to be a really good player. But it's too much responsibility for him.
Yeah,
I think it just wasn't good enough.
I mean, I haven't been much on social media. Well, I'm not a big fan of going on there when we lose anyway, because everyone likes to have a pop, and to a point we probably deserve a bit of criticism for, like you said, for the lack of graft and lack of heart in that. And the things I have seen have been about Archie Gray and being the captain. I mean, he's fifth choice. We knew that he named his 5. We knew that the other 4 were out or didn't start and were out. So we kind of knew that was going to be the thing. I do agree that I don't think he's ready. Has had a lot of responsibility on his shoulders for such a young kid. Did captain a lot in pre-season as well, so I kind of knew Sank was up there with it. But in that game yesterday, for me, you really needed someone to maybe have that armband who's going to roll their sleeves up and have a row and have a fight on the pitch. But I looked at that team and I just thought I couldn't tell you who that was, who could be that captain. If you took it off Archie Gray for that game, I don't know who you would have give it to, and that was the alarming thing. Listen, we did have a lot of players out. I mean, I looked at the bench from the players that were out, watching it from the stands, and you get players like Van der Ven and Porro, and they're your sort of leaders. And maybe that's why I'm not taking it to heart as much. I'm really disappointed with it, and I was at the time. But we have got a lot of leaders and first teamers out at the moment, and obviously we'll talk about incomings in a little bit. But I'm old school, and I just think wherever you're playing against a team who's better than you or not, or who are up for it more than you, you have to match that at this level, competitive level, in some way. And the alarming thing was for such a passionate manager and someone. I mean, I looked at Zerbi at one point and he was shaking his head like this on the bench, like saying like, no. And he's thinking like, what the fuck's going on? So that's the worrying thing, is that if we didn't have these first team players playing, is that the kind of players we're going to end up putting out if we get injuries again? And is that the kind of fight we're going to have going forward in other games as well? Shane, in terms of new signings, I'm going to pick a few out that I'd like your opinion on. I'm going to give them to you both. I'm going to go back onto Tonali. Big money. We know that the market is massively inflated at the moment, and we're paying big money for players. And if they don't pull strings and they don't have good games, we're going to get jumped on about it, and we're going to get criticism. But I know De Zerbi has come out and said that he looks like he lacked a bit of fatigue. But I'm right with what Oren's saying. He hasn't had a World Cup. He's had a bit of pre-season, played enough pre-season games. Do you blame that on fatigue, or do you blame that on maybe someone coming into a team not really knowing too much about it? Probably haven't played a friendly at that sort of intense level as well against a team that is like Brentford. Does he get any excuse from you for that poor performance, or do you sort of sympathise with and agree with De Zerbi in a way that maybe it's just one game too soon for him?
For me, there's not a single player that's got you can give any credit to throughout that game, other than the second half, Fernandez coming on for me. But obviously, we'll move on to that. Tonali's always going to get it now. He's £100 million player, so no matter what, he's always going to get it. Whether it be us, other fans, no matter what, he's going to get it from all angles. He had a bad game. Didn't do anything massively wrong, but he didn't do anything good at all. I don't think he was overly poor, but he didn't have a good game whatsoever. The thing that worries me is when you've got these players that are 100 million, the likes of Tonali and Fernandez, if they're having a bad game, I think it will make us have a bad game no matter what, because at the minute we just haven't got anyone to pull us out of the mud. But going back to Archie Gray, I agree with Oren that him being captain baffled my head. I do not get it whatsoever.
Who would you give it to in that game?
almost anyone. Robertson, Van Hecker, Senesi, Tonali, Gallagher. Even I mean, I wouldn't want Gallagher, but honestly, mate, 8 of the others. I just don't get the Arch Gray. Yeah, pre-season it's nice, and he's going to be a future captain and all the rest of it. But one, he's not right back, and two, he's not a leader. It's the first game of the season. What sort of message does it send out to everyone? We've got Archie Gray as captain and he's playing out of position again. It worries me a bit if Archie Gray is our backup right back, because after watching that, I just don't think it's good enough cover. And before I was like, yeah, you know what, let's spend in other areas because we'll have Porro, but. How long's Porro out for? Is he back at the weekend? I don't know. I mean, all right,
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
he
I
plays
don't
the
think
World
there's an
Cup.
injury. I just think he
No,
hasn't played any pre-season, and
no, yeah, and that's absolutely fair enough. But look at Arsenal. Saka played. Look at I'm sure a lot of players have played towards the end of the World Cup, and obviously Arsenal played a week before in the Community Shield.
I mean,
So
did Porro play 90 minutes every game for Spain to the final? I mean, that's what they'll say.
yeah, I get it. I do get it, mate. But it's the start of the season. We can't be going into the start of the season and having all these players out and then him coming out afterwards and saying, "Oh, they're not ready." Why aren't they fucking ready? I get the World Cup. I do get it, but they're getting paid fucking mega money, man. They should be putting in the effort and being ready.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I like Archie Gray. I mean, he's definitely not a right back. For me, he doesn't even have the posture of a right back. You know, especially in that sort of system, because you want your fullbacks bombing on, and he certainly isn't that. And that's probably where Porro's best attributes are in terms of going forward. Same as Adogi going forward, and I think that's why maybe Adogi's got the nod over Jed Spence being sold, because he has that more of an attacking threat. But when you don't have that attacking threat, it really does sort of limit you in terms of, you really have to go through the middle, and the midfield wasn't really kicking on, and the front three, I'm sure we're going to get onto in a minute, of how fragile and poor that was. But listen, another bit of what I've seen today, Orange, is I saw a clip on Troy Deeney. I know we sort of slag him off in the group chat quite a lot, and he's him and Gabby Bangalore are very opinionated about Tottenham at the moment, and it's all for clicks and likes and shit like that. I get it, but he made a good point today when he said about Archie Gray being captain, and said, you've got someone like Andy Robertson there who's sort of captain Liverpool, sort of been around the block a bit, and maybe what is he thinking about the sort of leadership in the team if he isn't getting a nod in a game like that. I'm sure Andy Robertson ain't going to come out and go, look, I want to be captain of this club when I should be in that top 5. But would it have made more sense to give Andy Robertson, because I thought he had a really good game as well, Robertson, going forward as well. Even when he went on the right, I thought he was good. But would you be looking at him for someone to be sort of maybe a standing captain over Archie Gray?
Yeah. So what I think about that is Andy Robertson's been around the block many times, and how many times did he captain Liverpool when he was playing for Liverpool? I don't know, but you don't need the armband to be a leader. And whilst he had a good game, I didn't see him bollocking players. I didn't see him trying to up the levels. And as you said, Kev, previously, it's even if you cannot match the team that you're playing for quality, you have to match them with running and fight, and that was the most worrying thing. And and we're saying about yes, World Cup players and blah blah, but this is one game out of 38 and we've lost it. We can't afford to come into a season in such a competitive league and kind of have the attitude of, wow, yeah, well, we're missing 7 players. We've got players to come in. We're going to buy some players. There's no guarantees in this league. Do you know what I mean? We've got Charlton on Wednesday. We have to win. We have to beat Charlton now. We cannot afford to rotate against Charlton because it's a potential banana skin, and we now have to beat Newcastle, because if we don't, like I said at the beginning, the momentum starts building, but in a negative sense. We can't, and like you said, with Talk Sport and all the other crap that people talk, it will all start spiraling. And again, I don't want to come on and be a doom and gloom merchant all the fucking time, but like I said, this club has a propensity of the wheels coming off very quickly. And we've seen it in seasons gone by, and that is the thing that I'm worried about.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, I dodged a bullet by not going to that game, and I was really up for going. Obviously, it's very difficult to get a ticket for Brentford away, but yeah, very very happy that I missed that because like that supporter that's been going around of him standing there with his arms out, basically saying, "What the fuck was that?" I mean, that is what I think what you're alluding to there in terms of if you ain't going to be better than them, which we still should be because on paper, listen, without doubt, we've got a better team than them. But it
Mm,
just shows you that if you don't match them, like you said, in terms of physicality and fight and second balls and tackles and whatever it is, you're going to lose football matches no matter who you play, whether it's Brentford or it's Charlton or it's fucking Morecambe in an FA Cup game away. It really does boil down to that. And like you
mm,
said, we're in the hardest league in world football, without a doubt, the most competitive league in world football. And if you switch off and decide to have a day off one day, just ask Aston Villa. Going away to Brighton, it's the same thing. It's you take your foot off, you'll get hammered, and that's what we did, and that's what happened. And it's a real shame because we did lack a lot of leadership in that game, and you know that maybe that was something that we really needed in that game. Shane, in other signings, how did you think Van Hecker and Senesi did in as a partnership for the first time and sort of getting a good look before Mickey Van der Ven comes in? I'm sure will grab his spot back.
Not great, mate. To be honest, yeah, not great at all. I thought Senesi, I've heard is like don't really commit many fouls. I swear he committed more than fucking Romero
Yeah,
does.
he was very Argentinian the other day. I thought.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. I never normally have him on the old bets, but he'll be going in next time, I tell you that. But yeah, I wasn't overly impressed, mate. There was a few glimpses where I've seen the balls played through the lines. I did like that. There's a few times. But other
Yeah,
than that,
them two had really good stats out last year in terms of
yeah,
that. I mean, it only works if a midfielder wants to fucking pop up and be confident on the ball to get it. They're
exactly
always
that.
wicked.
But playing it through, you're playing it up to Richie, he just fucking bounces off him. So once you've got someone half decent up there, hopefully it'll work. But yeah, other than that, mate, I did notice a lot. Van Hecker, he seems to be out of position. He gets dragged out a lot, and then obviously without keep talking about when Mickey comes back, or because it's their mistakes, they shouldn't be doing it anyway. But they're not obviously blessed with the fastest of pace between
No.
them. They just kind of got caught out. And yeah, Van Hecker was got caught out quite a few times. Obviously, when Van der Ven does come back, hoping that covers him. But yeah, I don't know, mate. I wasn't overly impressed with either of them, to be honest. But I'm just sounding stupid because we all know they're two quality players. It's one bad game. Come hopefully Saturday they'll show us a completely different game and it will work. It will come together. And no matter who that partnership is, it will come together. We've had a bad game. It's not going to be a bad run. It's just I'm confident that it's just going to be one bad game. But with signings coming in and they do need time to gel, I don't think it's going to be overnight. And I've even heard some of my mates saying there might not even be a season. Like get towards the end of the season before we start really clicking and moving on. You just don't know. Don't know how long it's going to take and who comes in. But yeah, we're going to get it because even before the Chelsea game tonight, I've seen on Monday Night Football, they're talking about Liverpool and all the money they've spent, been hammered about the money. So we're going to get the same no matter what.
Oh yeah, listen, mate, you're under severe pressure when you spend what we spent. Like I said on a video I posted on Instagram the other day, we're only doing what everyone else has done. But for some reason people have a problem with us doing it because I think people sort of belittle us in that way, and because we never spent them, obviously where we finished the last few years, it's took everyone by shock, including us, about how much we spend. And I looked at some of the performance today, and when we talk about spending money on players, we also talk about sort of players that that were willing to go, that sort of played in that game. And I looked at players like Bergval, Oren. For me, Bergwell was one of the worst players on the pitch the other day. And this is a guy who said he wants to leave. De Zerbi has turned around to him and gone, well, you want to leave, you can, but I want you to stay because I think you're a good player. So before the Brentford game, it was kind of announced that he's going to stay. But on that performance, wherever he doesn't want to stay and wants to put in performances like that because he shouldn't stay, or we all know there's a good player in there, and do you put it down just having a bad day at the office? Because for me, all the players that I thought were really poor yesterday on Saturday are all players that have been linked to moves away. I'm talking about Mikey Moore, thought was really poor. Richarlison was another one who's really poor. All players that have been linked away. Is there a coincidence with that? And what did you think of Bergval's performance?
So I thought Bergvall was really poor. I think he was really sloppy in his decision making. I think his passing was poor. Is there a correlation between that and the players that De Zerbi ideally would want out the door? Maybe, but again, it kind of comes down to, and I'm gonna dig him out now. Is Gallagher? Now Gallagher's playing number 10, and Brentford bought the lad. What's his name now? Sangare, and he was running
really
rings,
well.
running rings around our midfield. Now you look at our midfield trio of Tonali, Gallagher, and Bergvall. Out of the three of them, I would expect Tonali or Gallagher to be the ones that's pressing and harassing and
Your energy,
trying to win the ball and giving that energy. And Bergvall is the more with the guile and trying to pick a pass out, and he didn't do that. But what was Gallagher doing? Yes, Bergvall had a really bad game, and hopefully we come onto it in the pod. But Gallagher is just so far. If Gallagher's a number 10, then I'm fucking Alan Shearer. Like, do you know what I mean? He is not good enough to play at number 10 for Tottenham. So I don't know what the plan is going forward. I know that Kulusevski's, forget Kulusevski until Christmas for me. Maddison isn't fit, and he had a knock. I don't know what's happened with that, whether or not he's going to be fit. But do we need another number 10? Is another question that I want to put out there, because we cannot continue to have Conor Gallagher in the side. For me, he's just not good. He's not good enough.
I mean, you've got Xavi Simmons to throw in that as well, haven't you? You got Simmons to come back. I know that's a long way away yet.
That's February, March, mate. Do you know what I mean?
I was hoping Christmas.
Yeah.
They're the sort of players you sort of need. I mean, I'd like to think that place is now down for him when he comes back, but how long is it going to take him to get going again? So you might be right in one sense there about would they look, because I know we're still linked to a lot of players in different positions as well. So I don't know if we're done spending as much as we think we are. I don't know what sort of tricks they're going to pull out their sleeve. But what I do know, Shane, is when that team was announced, I was just finishing football, and one of the lads at football went to me, "What do you think today?" I said, "Show me the starting lineup quickly," and I saw that front three, and I know the front three was what was predicted was going to play. I thought Solanke might have had half a chance to maybe get a start, but obviously he isn't fully fit either. But when I saw that front three, I said to him, "My mate, we're going to lose or we're going to draw, because I can't see where the goals are coming from." How was that front three for you? I know we're all on Richarlison's heads on the block for all of us. I know that, but Matthias Tell and Mikey Moore as a three, how did you think they got on? What's your opinion on it?
Awful, mate. I don't ever want to see it again. Never, ever in my lifetime can I see that front three. I really hate digging out a academy player, and we thought he was a future star, but for me, just not. I've watched him when
he shouldn't be there at the moment, should he, Shane? He shouldn't be there.
No, he shouldn't. No. He should be out on loan. But for what I've seen, I don't think he will be that star that everyone's hoping. I think Luca Williams-Barnett will be. I genuinely believe he is a superstar, and for me, he should be playing over any of them. Just lob him in and give him a go. If you're playing Mikey Moore, you can definitely be playing Williams-Barnett for me, and he can play as a 10 or on the left. But yeah, going back to them, Mikey Moore, just them three chances, they're golden chances. He has got to put at least one of them away. That ball from Robertson was probably the highlight of the game. Absolutely brilliant. Put it all the way across. And he just fluffed his line.
He lacked confidence with the shot, because he had two of them and he side-footed them both. And I'm just thinking, like, a proper finisher. I mean, listen, I make you right. If there was a left-footed player, which would have been, I don't know, Kulusevski or a Kudus or a Barnett, they're shifting that onto their left and they're probably bending that in or burying it. From a right-sided, it's a thing now. When players play out wide, they're the opposite foot on each side. It's the way the game is now. They're like wingers to come inside. They don't really go at them anymore. Hence the reason why we've got Savinho, left-footed player, probably end up playing on the right. And I think that's what we lacked in them certain positions for them chances for Mikey Moore. Also, he's a kid who's, it's a big game for him. And maybe it was a game way too soon for him. You know, he's been at Rangers, he's done well up there, but like you said, you, and Oren could probably do well up in Scotland. So he needs to go and learn the hard way, whether that's a Championship side. Go and stick him in there; it'll be able to toughen him up a bit. But they're thinking about sending him on loan to Germany. So, however that progresses him, I don't know. But I've always said Mikey Moore is not ready for Tottenham Hotspur right now, and I've got my doubts about him, to be honest, in terms of going forward. In terms of, I don't put him on the same pedestal as a Barnett. I've seen Mikey Moore. I don't really see what the fuss is about. I knew what the fuss was about when he was growing up and watching him do things for England and playing 3 or 4 years below his age group and all that, and that's all great. But you know, some players at this level, at his age now, are Premier League proven already, and he isn't. And to chuck him into that, knowing that he was going to off him last week on loan, sort of says where we are in terms of our attacking options at the moment, and probably that's the most alarming thing. But yeah, in terms of, you know, what do we take from that game? What do we take from that? Considering I'm not talking about the players coming in for the next game. I'm probably more talking about Newcastle, if anything, because I think Charlton, he might even sort of stick around with what he's got. He might have a sniff of the new signings, getting a few minutes here and there. But I'm probably more talking about Newcastle. What has to change for that game that wasn't there in this game for you? What is the key factor that De Zerbi's going to say, look, this, when he gets him in training and puts him in that media room and sticks that telly on that Brentford game, where is he going to go at him and say, look, this can't happen against Newcastle. This is where we went wrong. What can change?
It's the graft. First and foremost, it's the graft, it's the effort, it's the application, it's the togetherness, it's the fighting spirit. You know, all of those things that he's been saying, you know, back end of last season, pre-season. We've not seen it, and like I said, that is the biggest thing that is disappointing me so far. All the talk, and that is what was served up. And like you said, you know, there were times in the game where he had his head in his hands, thinking, "What the hell's going on?" Yeah, they're not listening, or they're not doing what I'm saying. And you know, Fernandez has got to start. You know, we've got a week now to get players fit. You know, we've got to get Porro fit. You know, World Cup or not, he's got to play against Newcastle because we cannot afford to drop more points immediately. We have to do that. We have to get Maddison. We have to get Maddison fit because Gallagher is just not a number 10. And we have to get.
Do you sympathise with, you know, new players coming into this game?
Yeah,
Newcastle game, players are going to come back into that game. You know, your Porros and Van der Vens are going to start with your new signings as well. Is there a chance that we're going to have the same issue against Newcastle because we've now got players coming back in that haven't played with players at pre-season? Is there a risk of that?
Yeah, 100%. There's a risk of it, but we want to be a big club, so you know we have to deal with this. At the end of the day, it's not, for me, it's not an excuse. You know, throughout the season, we're going to have to rely on a squad of players. We're not going to play the same 11 week in, week out. So we have to rely on your Gallaghers, your Bentancurs, your Tells, if he's still in the squad after the transfer window. Like they have to be ready. And that is the biggest thing that I need to see. But you know, having said that, like I said, Fernandez has got to come in because he looked good when he came on. Maddison looked good when he came on, I felt. And we need a Savinho through the line now because you know we've been signing this guy since 1954. Do you know what I mean? We've got.
Yeah, I tell you what, his fucking medical is taking as long as his fucking transfer as well.
Yeah,
he's passed it.
Has he? Is it all done? Is it coming out?
Well, that's good.
No, it hasn't all come out, but yeah, apparently. Well, I just read any shit, so it could be waffle, but yeah, apparently the medical's passed. So.
Like it probably tripped down the fucking stairs coming out to the media room.
But this is part of the thing that we were saying a few pods ago, lads, in terms of Savinho. If we knew we wanted him, we should have just said to City, stop fucking around now, or we're moving on. And Savinho should have been playing against Brentford. We had all summer to get him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've had all summer.
I mean, this pursuit has been long, and yeah, like you said, I don't think they ever wanted to walk away from it because they've been fixated on having him for a year. There's something there that they're sworn by that he's going to be a success. I mean, I've heard Pep Guardiola talking about him in terms of, I watched an interview of him the other day and said, look, this kid could be one of the greatest fucking wingers in the world, but his end product isn't great, and until he got that sorted, Pep weren't having him. So Spurs are going to take that risk on him. Obviously, the front three we had out the other day, I think I'll take a Savinho over that, even a Savinho that couldn't score. If you can lay it on for a centre forward to tap in on the 6-yard box, I'm happy with that.
I'd take this fucking three over that front three.
Of course, without a doubt. Be a bit more fucking biting. I'm a bit more biting than Richarlison, I know that. But before we move on to Wednesday's game against Charlton, I just want to mention our sponsors. Proudly sponsored by Hotspur Heritage, a very loyal sponsor for us. If you haven't hit up Mitch yet, go over to his Instagram page. He's on TikTok as well. Does really, really great prints. Wherever you like your present day stuff, your heritage stuff, excuse the pun, your retro stuff, anything you want knocked up, Mitch is great at designing stuff like that. So please get over to Hotspur Heritage as well for your retro prints and whatnot. And also Smart Drain UK, which is our latest sponsor for this season, which we're so happy to have on board. Smart Drain UK, if you didn't know, is a leading drainage company, covers across UK, Midlands, London, surrounding regions. They provide a fast, reliable drainage services for homeowners, businesses, and commercial clients nationwide as well. So definitely go and give them a shout on their website. Shane is really good friends with the owner as well. So if you want a bit of discount, go and message Shane. I'm sure he can help you out, sort you out. Smart Drain UK might not let me saying that, but business is business.
We'll sort it out.
We're extremely grateful for them sponsoring us and helping us push on this podcast journey of taking this podcast to the realms of being one of the best podcasts, especially Spurs podcasts out there at the moment. So, lads, talking about Charlton on Wednesday, I just mentioned to Orin there about, how risky do we go? Shane, obviously, coming off the back of that shit performance against Brentford, Orin's just mentioned it's a must-win. Could be a potential banana skin. It's a cup game. I know we're at home, got that home advantage. Everyone will be happy to be down there. I'm sure it'll be a sellout with people that can't normally get tickets. So big family sort of orientated game. So everyone will be excited to be down there. If you're Roberto De Zerbi going into this game, what do you do in terms of filtering the players in that wasn't ready for Brentford, knowing that you have Newcastle awaiting us on Saturday, who I thought were really good yesterday against Newcastle, by the way. Didn't look like they've lost that bit of Eddie Howe bite from what I saw, considering they've lost a few players. So that's going to be no easy game. So how do you set up against Charlton? What do you do? Do you go whole hog, or do you just sort of give these players another go at it and try and gel them in a bit more for this game? So maybe if you do have to use them against Newcastle, they're got a bit more about them after playing another 90 minutes in the cup.
I don't change a great deal, and that's not because I've got any confidence in them, but I think it should be good enough to see off Charlton. And not only that, by then Newcastle game, I'm hoping that we change it. We've got the new players coming in, we've got players coming back, so I'd carry on with these. Mainly, I'd love to see Williams Barnett get a go.
Yeah,
I think
perfect game.
Perfect game to give him a go. Either in the 10 and then play. No, but like even lobbing in the Byfield at right back and then putting Archie Gray in the middle and then put Williams Barnett in the 10. But whether he goes,
It's a bit of tinkering. That's quite a bit of tinkering.
Yeah, it's two players. I think you've got to change it a little bit, but not too much. Let's just go a couple of changes. To be fair, he's probably going to play Dick Bravka as well in goal, wouldn't he? You would have thought so.
Probably, yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it is Charlton. No disrespect to them, but we should be good enough to put them. But it is a must-win game. We can't be going out in the cups this early on. And I think there would be a very pissed-off fan base if we did.
Yeah, Orin, you're in the dugout. You're in the change room. So what names are you sticking on the board?
I'd go Kinski in goal. I would go Archie Gray right back. Again, I would keep the same back four, to be honest. I would bring Bentancur in, get some minutes in his legs for the Newcastle game. I would get Maddison in to get some legs into him for the Newcastle game. I think it's too risky to play a Byfield or a Williams Barnett unless they're coming off of the bench. And I'd also start Richarlison up front. And if we've signed and registered Savino in time, I'd play him over Mikey Moore and just send Mikey Moore on loan.
Yeah, it's the sort of players you mentioned there. You sort of probably alluding to the fact that you want to, if there's a bit of rust in some of them, you want to, like Bentancur, Maddison, you want to sort of give them a go. What about Solanke? There's a bit of rust.
I'd start him, because if we're talking about, players have not had a pre-season, they need to get used to the way De Zerbi plays. Well, there's no time like put them into a live game, rather than no more games behind closed doors or training sessions. Like, we're in the season now, so we've got to get these get the players up to fitness as quickly as possible. So I wouldn't take too many risks against Charlton.
Well, yeah, like you said, I mean, once you get through this cup, you between your Premier League games, then you've got a week's rest. I don't know when the next round of the cup is. I think it's normally it might be late September, if I remember rightly. Yeah. So, but before then, we've got quite a few games in this September, so you've got a week's rest into doing it. So I'll make you right. It's a good way to maybe knock off some rust of some of these players who may be struggling a little bit and get more minutes in legs. But like you said, there's always that risk of it's a cup game, and for me, boys, I mean, the Carabao Cup's a massive one for me this year. The FA Cup is all of our dream. We love the FA Cup, of course, but a Carabao Cup for me is something that we really need to look at, maybe going far in, and especially because we are going to have a big squad. So it'd be nice to use that big squad and to our advantage in terms of these rounds in the cup. Of maybe if we are playing lower league teams, we can keep players fresh for Premier League games. But the later the stages get on, by the time November, December comes and you get into the nitty gritty of the Carabao Cup, your team's hopefully gelled. Your rusty players, like you mentioned, they're all in a fighting and ready to go. And then you can start putting out a really strong side, sort of towards the latter stages of the cup. It's not something we've done before. I remember going to Fulham a couple of years ago with Ange and going out in the first round when he changed fucking 9 players in that game and we went out on penalties. You just can't really risk that if you're serious about the cup. And as supporters, we're serious about the cup. And not being in Europe. I mean, Shane, how do you think De Zerbi looks at this Carabao Cup? And is it one that he will want to try and win, or is it one where he's going to use players, sort of reserve players and players that ain't got minutes and change things a lot? Or how do you think he's going to approach it?
Owen, just a quick one for you, mate. You said about Bentancur, get him on ready for the weekend. Are you expecting him to start the weekend or wanting him to start the weekend?
No, I'm not wanting him to start at the weekend, because I think Fernandes needs to start. But Fernandes isn't going to be fit enough to play the whole 90 minutes. So what we need quality to come off come off the bench.
What about Fernandes in the 10 and Bentancur in centre midfield? Does that work for you? I'm a big fan of Bentancur, that's why I'm saying it.
I wouldn't mind it, to be fair.
For me, Fernandes we're all saying the big statement signing, Tonali and all the rest of it. Fernandes, for me, is going to be that signing. I love Mamouche as well, so once we get that over the line, I think he could be up there. But Fernandes, when he come on the other night, mate, what a difference he made straight away. The other day, sorry. He just changed the game and he just looked pure class. I think he's going to be unbelievable. So the quicker he gets in and gets playing as many minutes as possible, I think the team changes. And I think it will just bring that confidence around. Maybe did Tonali not have that confidence because who he's got next to him? I would say Gallagher may as well just fucking start.
I watched Tonali pre-season. He hasn't pulled up any fucking trees in pre-season, I know that.
No, he hasn't, has he? But like I say, Fernandes
looks a miserable cunt as well.
Yeah, he looks for the money he's on, you'd think he'd have a fucking smile on his face. It's a hard one, Kev, because I'm kind of contradicting myself. I'm sat here saying, oh yeah, make a couple of changes, but then you do need to go strong. But contradicting myself while saying what we had at the weekend isn't strong. It wasn't strong enough. It wasn't good enough. And I get it's against Charlton, so it's a tough one where he's going to go, because I think if you do mix it up ever so slightly, it's no matter what, it should still be enough. And he should be giving them a kick up the arse this week and saying, look, get through this and then focus on Newcastle at the weekend.
Yeah, listen, he's definitely got so much to pick out of that Brentford game, towards the Charlton game and Newcastle game. I mean, if he wants to dig out people's faults and player individual mistakes and everything in that game, I mean, that'd be a 3 hour fucking session in that media room. I don't think they'll get out of there because it was that bad, and it can't be like that. Can't be like that against Charlton, let alone fucking Newcastle, because Charlton are coming to a stadium that, in my recollection, haven't played us there. So when these small teams come to this stadium, they look at it and it's a spectacle for them. Will they ever play there again is another thing, and they take their chance. And the magic of the cup, sort of sprinkled on top of that as well. So listen, no easy game in
They've
the
won
Premier
both
League.
games as well. They
Yeah,
beat West Ham. They beat West Ham at the weekend, and they won their first home game as well.
They're two for two, and I didn't want to just jump in, Kev, but yeah, when I'm talking about momentum, arguably they're coming in with more momentum than us. And like you said, it's a party atmosphere. Coming to the glitz of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, never know when they might play in a stadium like that again. It's got all the hallmarks of an upset for me.
Well, let's hope not, boys, because if we think the vultures are out for us now, if we go out against fucking Charlton, they fucking definitely will be. Especially if we're playing, we're getting a few players back in for that game as well. So I mean, I can't even fucking get that in my mind that that's going to happen. So let's hope not. Let me just jump onto the transfers coming in. We know Savinho's, Shane, you just mentioned medicals pass over the line. We sort of knew that one was going to happen. Marmoush, we kind of feel like that's 80-90% there. I think a medical was happening today. I mean, I can only assume they're going to announce them both tomorrow. Can't be any longer than that. In terms of them two, do you sprinkle them in midweek, or if you can? I mean, I think it's going to come too soon for them because they probably want to train by then. But how much are they going to have an impact, them two, Shane, on this team going forward now? Just them two signings alone before we mention any others.
I think they're going to change everything.
I know you're a big fan of Marmoush.
Yeah,
you've been calling that one from day one as well.
Yeah, I've really wanted him. I think he's absolutely class. He's brilliant player. He's someone that we need, and I think he does change it. I think we need to get rid of Richarlison, and then he'll be a good competition for Solanke. But yeah, for me, he'll be brilliant. Savinho, you watch the highlights of him and these highlights. There's a serious player in there.
Yeah, I agree.
And I've never known a player so thirsty to come to Tottenham either. He for whatever reason, is desperate to come, and he must love the club or whatever. I don't know what reason it is, but he clearly wants to come to the club, and I'm happy to have him, mate. I really am.
The thing is, Shane, if you're him and you've had a club pursuing you for a whole year, me personally as a human and as a professional player, I'd be like, this team really wants me. This team has hung around for a whole year wanting me. This kind of may feel like home. He's come over to City and he hasn't got going at City for whatever reason. Hasn't played the games, so he's itching to get out there anyway. One of his best mates is down at Spurs in Xavi Simons, who's probably sold the club to him. But I think it might just be that thing of being wanted so much by a club and maybe having to repay that back and maybe just feeling like that's the club for you in terms of of how much they wanted to sign you. And easy, like you said, Oren, we could have walked away loads of times from this deal. We haven't. So he probably owes us a bit in that sense of this club really does want me, and I can't wait to repay the faith they showed in me by sticking around and for a whole year and wanting me. Oren, where are you with Savinho? Like Shane just mentioned, he's got a great highlight reel. I mean, I've seen Brian Hill have a fucking nice highlight reel as well before we signed him. But I think there's something special there. Whatever what Pep was saying about his end product, because I think as a front three to win titles and go far in domestic cups and win cups, especially in that attacking sense, yes, you need your centre midfield to chip in your goals, but your wide players are massive in terms of contributing to goals as well as your centre forward. Where do you see him coming in, and what you're looking at him to be like? We know he's, like Lee mentioned, Lee loves a one-on-one winger. He does strike me as a type that he's going to run at people. He's going to cut in. What are you expecting from him? And yes, the price tag we've been ridiculed for it. We know the reason, one of the rumours why the price tag was so high. in terms of the Marmoush deal and the Frankfurt sell-on
Mm.
clause and whatnot. You know, we know he's not an £85 million player at this point of his career, but it is what it is. What are you expecting from him? Are you feeling hopeful? Do you think this could be another Brian Hill or a Gilberto?
No. So I really like Savinho, and he was really good at Girona, which got him his move to Man City. He's a pacey, he's a tricky winger, can play both sides. You know, his end product isn't the best, but I think that's something that can be developed under someone giving him a bit of love. And you know, at Man City, you've not got that time to develop and grow because it's a win now club. If you're not playing well, you're out the team, and you're being replaced by another £100 million player, and it's difficult to get back in. Like, do you know what I mean? It's a very difficult club to play, and you know, I liken him to Jeremy Doku a little bit. And 2 seasons ago,
he couldn't finish the topic, did he?
Exactly. Everyone was saying Doku's a waste of money and he's shit and etc. And I think Savinho will have the same impact at Spurs as Jeremy Doku had for Man City last season. And I love that. And I love the fact that he's versatile as well and can play off of each flank. And like you said, Kev, I think, and I hate this as well about the modern game. He takes people on.
Yeah,
He's going to get you off your seats. We haven't got a single player at the minute who makes you get up off your seat. He's going to be exciting. And the thing is, sorry to put in, Owen, but the thing is with him, he's going to come to Spurs. He wants to come to Spurs, and he is going to be the star. He's going to be the one that everyone's going to go to watch. He's going to be that winger that takes on players, that's going to get us up out of our seat. And at Man City, never, ever was even 5th in line to be the superstar. You've got Haaland, you've got all the other players in front of him, Rodri at the time, Bernardo Silva. People go to watch them. Yeah, like there's so many players in front of him. Whereas he comes to Spurs.
I think there's less pressure here with Spurs.
Yeah.
I mean, the price tag is gonna create pressure for him. But like you said, already mentioned there, it's, you know, that's a win now club. You succeed. If you have one shit game, they won't play you again. Is he got a bit more time to settle in at Spurs? And how quick has he got to kick on before everyone starts fucking trying to lynch him?
I'll jump in there, Shane. Sorry. So just really quickly, I think with Savinho, because we were talking earlier about, you know, big name signings and things like that. And I think Fernandes will be this type of person as well. Give me the fucking ball and I'm going to do something. That's what I get from Savinho, and that's what I get from a Fernandes as well. Not so much a Tonali, but you've got to remember at Newcastle, he had Guimaraes and Joelinton doing all the dirty work.
Doing the doggies, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm really excited about Savinho.
Yeah, no, I hope so. I think there's a talent there, and I hope that we get to see the best of it, because watching Brazil in that World Cup, I think he could have gone in there and probably done 100%. A bit better than what they currently had, and he's a player that isn't really in form. But in terms of transfers as well, I mean, let me talk about the links. Obviously, the Cody Gakpo rumour, Shane, was gathering steam until tonight, when we've heard Man City have now sort of jumped the queue and speaking to his agents as well. We've had personal terms agreed since July on Gakpo. But, you know, I've got a bit of a feeling that if City come in and start knocking, he's going to go. He's going to go there. Obviously, a ready-made club. Well, they say they're a ready-made club at the moment, but you know, I don't know what situation they're in. They were very lucky to win yesterday as well. Where are you with Cody Gakpo? I mean, listen, he improves the front line for me. I think it was our group chat where someone mentioned today that if we didn't sign him, we wouldn't be too bothered. I think it's one of you guys maybe that said that. You know, it's not a massive disappointment, but he does strengthen, you know, considering what we had at our disposal against Brentford. Where are you with Cody Gakpo? Is it someone that you'd like to see down there, or are you happy for this one to be sort of weighed on and maybe look elsewhere?
Exactly what I said in the group, mate, and what you've just repeated. I think he improves us, and if he comes, I'll be very happy. If he doesn't come, I'm not going to lose sleep. I wanted Savinho and I wanted Marmoush. If we get them two, I'm happy. And to be honest,
Maybe the
would
only two you'd be done with. Would you be done with that after that? Would you be happy to go?
if it ended there, I would be happy. But no, I would want more. But if it ended there, I'd think, what an amazing window. But you can't moan, bloody hell. Like, how spent, that's going to be close to what? Almost 400 million. So yeah, how can we moan at that? But I personally think we potentially should be looking at a right back, and then, as Oren said earlier, 10, because Maddison is made of glass, and Xavi's not back till December, January, whenever it is, and then how long till he's fully fit? So maybe do we look at a 10, let Bergval go back in for Gibbs White? I know been burnt there before, but what an addition that would be. But yeah, don't get me wrong. If Gakpo comes, I'm over the moon, and I think he does improve us. And yeah, brilliant signing. But I'm not overly arsed, mate. If he doesn't come, I wouldn't say he'd be the name I want. I've got the two that we want now. So but yeah, if he comes or not, I'm not overly bothered. But yeah, I do think we still need a couple more. But if we don't, how can we moan?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the thing about Gakpo that sort of teases me of it is his versatility. You know, if we did have a striker crisis, he can go and play in there as a 9. He obviously can play off the left as well, and them areas we're really weak in terms of wide players and centre forwards at this current time. And that's before we get Marmoush, I'm talking about. So, you know, at this point, I think he'd be a great addition. Whatever the price is another thing. But I haven't seen his link to any other. I mean, I've heard little whispers about Mateta and Daniel Munoz is a big one from Crystal Palace, the right back who had a great season last year. That might be the one you was talking about there, Oren, about getting another right back in. I don't know. Is there anyone particular that you may have heard we're linked to, or you'd think that would, you know, if you've got the Marmoush and Savinho done, say Gakpo fell away at City, is there someone else that you'd like to get in there, or any other area you might want to strengthen?
Yeah, so I can't really think of any names. I've just been looking just now, and it looks like Rafa Leao has gone to Aston Villa, which is another.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is another. He's got the here we go. I don't know how reliable that is. So let's see. For me, I think we need an additional winger/striker in addition to Savinho and Marmoush, just because of our attacking players that we've got unavailable. You know, Odebert, Kulusevski, Madison's just finding.
Don't forget, we've got Kudus still. Kudus is on his way back soon, so that's
the issue there, Kev. He's on his way back. Like when is he going to be first team ready? But two, and more importantly for me, like when is he going to be able to perform at a high level?
After a long injury, you're right.
And produce the goods. Like we need to remember, he's been out for what, 6 months? It's a long time to be out. So I just hope. I don't know which name we bring in. I still kind of look at Rashford. Didn't start for Man United on the weekend. Could we do something there with a bit of a loan? Indai maybe.
Yeah, I like him.
I'm not his biggest fan. But again, the problem is we're the 24th of August. Teams don't want to sell their better players now because they've got to scramble around finding replacements. So, yet again, it feels like we're going to be 1 or 2 short.
Yeah, and I think that's maybe the disappointing thing in terms of how we started the window so well. We sort of built from the back into midfield, and now we're at the last part of it, and we're sort of maybe struggling to get couple of players online. Listen, I know Savinho and Marmoush is one, but like you said, if you do need to thicken that up a bit more, you're probably now going to have to wait until certain players are sold at other clubs, and it's it's like a game of fucking chess. One goes out and this one comes in, and then this club now wants to strengthen here, so you can take it's chess pieces all the time, especially towards the latter part of the window.
So if we sat here at the end of last season and said we are going to sign Dubravka, Senesi, Robertson, Van Hecke, Tonali, Fernandez, Savinho, and Marmoush, and you're saying it's still not fucking enough.
Exactly.
We're saying, like, how can we sit here and say It's not enough. It's absolutely mental. So if that is the end of the window, we've got to remember it's a project. It's not all got. Not we're not going to sign every
Yeah, good
starting
point. Good
11
point.
player this window. We've still got another window to go as well. January window.
Wait, the way you just listed them off there, like,
I know.
we've
But having
and
said
you're,
so many.
having
sat
said
there
that,
saying,
lads.
"Oh, we're disappointed."
Yeah, having said that, lads, I've got one more, and tell me what you think. Jack Grealish on loan.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mamouche is on loan, isn't it? Apparently, Mamouche is
Yeah,
a
yeah,
loan, an obligation to buy. That's good business. I know we've got, but it says Mamouche only becomes obligated to buy it if he meets certain, bonuses or whatever. Like, maybe if that's what we get in Europe or whatever it is.
yeah.
So, we haven't really signed Mamouche. We've got him on loan, and if he doesn't get them bonuses or hit them targets, then it's not an obligation to buy it. I mean, they must be silly like bonuses, like, maybe score more than 10, 15 goals, or if we finish in the top 8 or whatever it is. So we haven't really spent that money on Marmouche yet. So there probably is a bit of money to spend, and if we are going down the loan market, Grealish. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if Grealish has run his race now. I don't know. I mean, he's better than, he's probably a better version of Mikey Moore. He's that sort of player. He isn't really quick, can draw a foul in. He's definitely a better shot than Voltemade. I'll give you that one.
You're not going to let me live that down, man.
Nah, definitely not. But I don't know. I believe this Spurs are still maybe going to pull a couple out their sleeve and maybe surprise ones if it is a low market or what. I think we're going to go right to the end of the window, and like you said, if we can strengthen any more, which, to be honest, it has been the best transfer window of my life that I can remember of being a Spurs fan, and that's 42 years. It's been the best transfer window ever, and it's a transfer window that's been like sort of,
Don't need to lie on here, Kev. We're all friends. How many years?
42. I've just turned 42. That's why I clean shave when I come on now. Just fucking. But it has been the best transfer window. So if it can get any better, then great. But like you said, Oren, the biggest thing now is to try and gel all these players in and how quick you can gel them. And with not being in Europe, we've got more time on a training ground, and who knows what will happen. But quickly moving on, I just want to finish up on Newcastle in terms of talking football here. I'm going to get your predictions for Newcastle. So, Shane, I know you're going to be there. You're going to be there with the boy. Massive game. It'll probably be a bit more of a different atmosphere than Charlton, because it will be everybody, all your season ticket holders and everyone, your passionate diehards will be in there. It'll be a loud old place on a Saturday. Everyone will be on the piss all day Saturday. It'll be a late kickoff. So I think we'll all turn up in terms of supporting the boys. But what are your predictions for that one, and how do you think we'll do?
Don't want to sound boring, mate, and say depends how we line up on Tuesday and depends how we line up first. But I think we'll win. I can't give a score prediction but I do think we'll get the win over the line. It really does depend, because if we were to go with that front three again, then no, I won't be confident whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't think that front three will be in there for that one. I do think you're going to have your Savinho and Marmouche start in that game.
If they start, we win. If they start, we win. End of conversation.
Oren, what you saying, mate?
2-1. 2-1 to Spurs. If Savinho and Marmouche start, 100%. It's a must win.
Well, you say Savinho and Marmouche to score, then that would be a great fucking day, wouldn't it?
Yeah, to start.
Getting both your debut boys. Yeah, I mean, I think they were really nitty gritty the other day against Liverpool, and they made it hard for them. Whether or not they can take that away from home. I mean, Newcastle have always been a good home side with the atmosphere up there, and I mean, they haven't played too poorly off. My recollection of coming down here, we've always had a tough game against them down here. In more recent years, I would say, not so much over history. But yeah, I just think the spectacle of it, the day of 5:30 on a Saturday, first proper home game of the season, all your new players playing, your Van der Ven's back, your Porro's back. I can't see anything other than a Spurs win. And if the new boys can get on the score sheet and they can gel and connect the dots, then great. And maybe we can get a good win and possibly forget about Brentford ever fucking existed that day, and we can go on from strength to strength after that. So yeah, I'm with you boys. I'm expecting Savinho and Marmouche to be in there, and hopefully 3 points and a nice Nice 3-0 win, I'd say. 3-0 or 3-1, I'd be happy with. So that'd be good. But listen, I just want to end on something that's quite close to not only my heart, but to a lot of people that are listening, a lot of people that have drunk down the Spurs for as long as I have. An Instagram post went out today from us and everywhere else. Bill Nick obviously gave him a shout out, and I know it's travelled a lot through a lot of Spurs pages and everything else. And that was that we lost a lovely lady called Kelly, who people would know from down the Spurs in terms of working in the Spurs shop, like I mentioned, but most famously working in the Bill Nick, who's a really lovely lady, someone that I was very lucky enough to grow up around. You know, I know her children really well, and Kel always used to go in the shop for me and get me some fags when I was a little fucking tearaway teenager. A lot of great memories, and yeah, really nice lady. And sadly, we lost Kelly a few weeks back due to a bit of a battle with cancer. So, you know, the post have gone out today for the Charlton game to give Kelly a massive round of applause on the 35th minute against Charlton, which is, I've always been a fan. This is why me and the boys on here always love to get behind these things, because I say it all the time, but, you know, if that was me or one of my family members, who's big into Spurs like Kel was, it's a lovely way to sort of remember someone, and not only are we remembering them, but everybody is coming together to remember that person as well. And she was a really famous person down there in terms of being in the pub scene and everything else. And I'll miss her discount on her beers. Sorry, Bill Nick. Maybe you didn't know that, but she always looked after us in every way she could, and that was just the way she was. And yeah, so the 35th minute, if everybody could give a round of applause for Kelly and give her the best send off and give her family a really emotional but memorable night, and hopefully Spurs get the win for her as well. So sleep well, Kel, and we're all thinking of you and the family right now. So lads, been a really good episode. Next week, I think Lee will be coming offshore and coming back in for the thing. TJ will be back. We've got some guests coming up. I'm away next week, a well-deserved holiday. Fucking wish I could have took it while the Brentford game was on, but unfortunately I'm missing Charlton and Newcastle. Boys, Shane, I know you're going down there. Have a great time. I know Lee's going to the game as well, so I'm sure you'll all meet up and have a good drink as well, and hopefully celebrate the points as well from beating them. So hopefully by the next time I come back on, we'll have all new signings, and we would have beaten Charlton and would have beaten Newcastle, which sets us up for Nottingham Forest away, which I'll be going to. My first game of the season, which is horrific for me to miss the first 3 games of the season. I don't think that's ever been done. So I have to blame the missus on that for booking holidays at stupid times of the season. But we'll swerve it just this once. But yeah, looking forward to get back into it. And listen, we've got so many guests lined up. We've been busy in the summer. Shane's been really busy. I've been really busy talking to ex-players and comedians coming on, big fan pages like ourselves, podcasts. These crossover podcasts I think are really good in terms of hearing different opinions on different podcasts, because we're all quite opinionated when we do these podcasts. So to hear other podcasts and getting on the mic with them and getting on in a booth with them, which is great, and you can share your opinions. So really looking forward to that. So we've got it all sort of lined up for everyone sort of coming over the next few weeks, few months. A really exciting time for us as a podcast. So yeah, thanks again for our sponsors, Hotspur Heritage, like I mentioned, and Smart Drain UK. We're eternally grateful for you giving us this platform to be as big as we are and can talk Tottenham to so many people, so many thousands of people a week who tune in and listen to us through audio platforms like Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music. And if you like your lives, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I know Shane, you're doing a fantastic job with the TikTok, by the way. Getting a bit of trolling, which I like, and giving some shit back. I think that's what TikTok's all about. Cav on the Twitter does a great job. His dry sense of humor is so good on that. And obviously me, Orion, and TJ, we do our bit and work hard on the Instagram to try and give you as much content as time allows us, as we're busy guys with family and everything else. So we do our best, and so what we do churn out, I hope you enjoy it. So lads, from me, it's been a great episode. We forget about Brentford. We roll on to Charlton for our cup run this year. And then we look forward to Newcastle and getting this Premier League season back on track with new signings. This has been the Heart and Out Here Spurs Fans Podcast. Up Spurs.
Come on, Spurs.